various definitions of intuition. And you have the Cambridge Dictionary version, which is intuition is an ability to understand or know something immediately based on your feelings rather than facts. So that's one version. But there's another definition of intuition is the ability to acquire knowledge or make rapid decisions without relying on conscious reasoning. And so it seems like that describes the sort of version A, version B that we're talking about, right? Because the second one that I just said is like system 1, system 2 thinking, where there are automatic patterns that we just, okay, so it's automatic patterns that we just use in our day-to-day living that we don't have to consciously think about, like, you know, brushing our teeth. And, you know, when you drive to work using the same route every time, your mind can just wander because like, you know exactly where you're going. You don't have to actively think about it. But system 1 thinking can also be like, oh, when she says this to me, I immediately react like that. Or when something happens at work that feels like this, I'm going to react like how I reacted to my first boss who was a dick. And internally, I'm a mess now, right? So system 1 thinking can be very helpful because it helps us not need to process all the time, but it can also kind of screw us over because we're now, you know, just slaves to our patterns. And system 2 thinking is, let's take some time to employ metacognition to think about our thinking and think about our actions, and then you have the opportunity to adjust. That's interesting how different the two definitions of intuition are there.
I feel like for me personally, I'm not as intuitive as I'd like to be. I think I use a lot of cognitive reasoning to back up why I'm doing something. I think I might even have an intuition that I should do something, and I'll find a cognitive reason why I should to make myself feel better about doing it.
In what scenarios do you wish you could lean on your intuition more?
I guess I just want to not need to have a cognitive reason to do it and just feel like I'm just doing it because I want to do it because it feels right. But I don't think I ever do it that way. I will always find a reason, a cognitive reason why.
There's sort of a related school of thought or train of thought or addition to this definition of intuition, which is it's about pattern recognition, and that's how we get our intuitive sense. That some psychologists and neuroscientists explain that intuition stems from procedural memory and accumulated expertise. So for me, then now it starts to feel like what you're talking about, which I understand in terms of feeling. Like you just want to go with it, right? Without having to think about it. It seems like it's a different thing, or rather we're getting stuck on, we're using one word to talk about different things, right?
I think that...
Which is very common in psychology, actually.
Yeah. But in general, it would be nice to be able to say, I'm just going to do this with my day to day because intuitively it feels right for me. But I wouldn't. I would say, because yesterday I trained really hard, so today I think I'll have a break, or the day after I have a really hard day, so today I'm going to relax. You know, I'd definitely give it reasons versus being able to just say, it feels right for me.
I guess as you were saying that, for me, it kind of converges back to maybe the same thing. A very common example for me where it does feel like this version of intuition we're talking about in a work scenario now, or a stress load scenario or stressful situation type of scenario. Because of everything that's happened in the last few years, I feel like my ability to stay within the chaos and stay calm within the chaos is much higher than it used to be. And my ability to scale that to something reasonable and realistic versus catastrophic is really quite a lot better than it used to be. So stressful situations will happen at work or outside of work, and I intuitively find myself being like, let's just see how this plays out. It's okay. Like it's not life or death. It's not something that needs to be solved exactly right now. You're right. If it does go in that direction, we are screwed. but I've been here enough times to be like, it's better if you just chill and just like observe, and you just give yourself the time and space to think. It feels like intuition, but the reason why it's there feels like is experience and pattern recognition. It's me over time realizing that you actually make better decisions if you just fucking chill and feel and observe.
I mean, I think that's great that you developed that ability, but to me, my definition of intuition would not be that. Like, to me, intuition would be based on gut feel and based on, like, for example, I think children have really good intuition. It's like, they just, like babies, they're like, oh, I don't like you for whatever reason. They don't know, but they just don't feel right with you. And, a lot of times it's a safety thing there's a certain reason that intuitively they don't like a person, or they don't like a moment, or an area, right? That to me is intuition. And that's the part where I feel we get trained out of it.
Yeah, it's like you are walking down the street and you just feel like that you shouldn't go in that direction. And you can't point out exactly why. But then you don't. And the right thing to do is to not.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I think with other humans, you're like, oh, maybe I am being just racist or rude. Somehow I'm judging this person. You say to yourself, I shouldn't judge them so quickly, but there could have been an intuitive reason why you didn't like them, right? But then you tell yourself, oh no, it might be because of this or that bias.
So interesting. Yeah, that's so interesting, because I don't really know what to do with that now, right? It's like we're talking about two quite different things, because I know what you mean in the either danger or like child scenario. They just have a sense of what is okay, what is not. I don't really know where that thought leads me.
I think maybe it just leads us to day to day. If there's something that feels right to you, just ask deeper. Why does that feel right? Like, or wrong, right? Why am I feeling that? Is there anything more there? Like, if I do it, if I imagine doing it now and there's this thing holding me back, where does that feeling come from?
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like in terms of making it part of an introspective practice that helps you learn about yourself and all that, I definitely see the value in what you're saying. But I think the other side of it, which is trying to not make it something that you apply too much cognitive load to, maybe it's just testing out and having fun with, hey, I kind of feel like doing that. Let's just inject spontaneity back into life a little bit and just like go with the flow. It's like, it can be as simple as, oh, I'm supposed to make it to this place for this thing at this time, but I'm really enjoying myself here. And so even though I'm a very regimented person, there's value in the flexibility and adaptability and the willingness to go with what you want on a different level and just be like, I'm just not going to do it.
I feel like that's a very dangerous thing to say to me, because I think that feels really easy for me. But I wonder if there's like an opposite version for people like me, like who do find it quite easy to be like, oh, I'll just go with it. Like, ooh, like I'll just stay here longer. Like, is there an opposite version where I intuitively do something different instead of sitting in it or going with it?
Maybe that's why you develop such a cognitive heavy process for like deciding
to
things,
protect
right?
Against that side of myself.
Yeah, maybe, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Definitely earlier in our relationship, you were more just like go with the flow and the whichever direction the wind takes you sort of thing. Yeah, I feel like that one, as we get more time to marinate on it, would be interesting to come back to the intuition.
I think intuition is, and also listening to your body is an extension of it, right? Like understanding what your body is trying to say to yourself better, listening within. I think that's an area that I'm really interested in, but not as skilled or knowledgeable in.
Yeah, they call that interoception, right? Where you can essentially look inwards and get a sense of how you're doing. And I think it's one of the problems in our modern world that's full of metrics and tracking, and we try and track and optimize fucking everything from, our wearables to our finances to, having the best rates on everything and our credit card miles and all this stuff, which obviously has value. But I think because of all these things that we track and this training that we've received to look outward for information on how we're doing as people, it's trained us to stop looking inwards and stop leaning into the senses that we have that help us look inwards to how am I actually feeling about this? Am I ready for this? When that happened, how did I feel? Before we look at the wearable, before we look at the whatever external validator, I think it's probably more beneficial to figure it out on our own first. But yeah, I'm in two minds about it because I do love data and all that. But I think we're all getting worse and worse at tuning in. I think there is some research from many years ago where if you look at indigenous populations, like I think they had taken a bunch of Aboriginals in Australia, and I might butcher this, but it was basically, in essence, the study was one of the things that's known about them as people is they are very good navigators because they have to traverse such a vast land. And so they took them and put them in cars and drove them in all kinds of different directions and stopped and let them out and asked them which way to home, like how do we get home? And pretty much they could figure it out. And like, I could not do that. You know what I mean? It's like any of the indigenous populations when when we went to Mongolia and we were staying with the Kazakh people who were eagle hunters, and the oldest son brought us out one morning and we were all on horseback and he was in front and he was on his horse and trying to make sure we stay alive, and he had his eagle and he had his dog. He had just a sense about the land and where to go and where things would be and where issues might pop up. It feels like a version of intuition as well, and I'm like, I could never do that. But our version of it is we're driving and texting and like talking to a kid back there or on a phone call or something like that, multitasking, right?